go live with other family members, which was his sisters. Um, and that was a rough time for all of us because we wanted to stay together, but we didn't get a chance to stay together because of the dynamics and what was going on with the death of my mom. Long story short, I got to stay with a mean aunt. This woman was mean. Um, I didn't really like her as much as she liked me, but I learned how to go with the flow. Um, I learned how to deal with it the best way I could. I don't talk to her as much because simple fact, when I was 13, her son molested me, and that did a lot to me at the age of 13. Um, it was real rough because when I did get molested, I went to my aunt and told my aunt what her son did, and my aunt didn't believe me. And I think that hurted me more than the act itself because I wanted to be believed. Um, she called me out my name. She told me I was fast. She just said a lot of things that really crushed me. And I don't understand why. But I thank God. I thank God that I didn't act out in a way that would have caused me more harm, more damage. Um, I decided to tell this sister, which she believed me, and she done something about it. She approached her brother, and they got into this real big fight, where he cut off her thumb. So when my aunt got home from work, and she found out that I told daughter, and the fight took place, I got a whooping for it. And I ran away from home. I ran away to find my dad. Um, finally found my dad, and I went back to his house. I don't see nobody in this chat. I don't see nobody nowhere, so I don't even know if anybody is in this in the chat. Can you put a number or something so I can see you? Cause I don't see nobody. I think I'm on doing live, but I don't see nobody. And this is crazy. So where am I? I don't know. I don't see nobody. Lord help me. If y'all see this video, do y'all see me? I don't even see. Whew. Okay, YouTube. Y'all playing with me. Hello. Is anybody out there in the YouTube streets? I don't think nobody see me. I don't know. I don't know. This is crazy. Oh, this is crazy. Okay, now. Oh, this is crazy. Okay. Salute Shank. Salute Sharon. Salute everybody. Yeah. So getting back to what I was saying with my story. I just wanted to make sure I saw somebody. I ain't see nobody, so that's why I stopped talking. But anyway, I ran away from home and I ran to go see my dad. Finally, I got back to my dad's house, um, where he was staying at the time. He owned a rooming house. So I stayed down there with my dad for a little while. Then we moved back to the big house, which he had on Rhode Island Avenue. Um, I was in school at the time. Um, I met this guy. I was 16 years old. I met this guy, my daughter's father. Um, we hooked up. I got pregnant at the age of 16. I had my daughter. At the time, my father didn't even know I was pregnant. I went to the clinic to get help, you know, and my dad had to go with me because I was a minor. So I told him I was in there for a toothache. And come to find out, I was 4 months pregnant. And my father had, the way he saw it, he wanted us to graduate, go to college, get married, have a family, do everything that he wanted his daughters to do. And it didn't work that way for most of his daughters because most of his daughters had kids at an early age. So um, it just what it was. So I didn't drop out of school, but I took some time out of school to care for my daughter. And then I took my baby to his mother house so she can care for her because I was determined to go back to school because I wanted to make my dad proud. I wanted to make my dad happy. So I took the time and I went back to school. Um, and I graduated. I went to a lot of vocabulary schools, skill schools, and got me two trades. Nursing degree, assistance certificate in computer technology. And I aced both of them. I got me a job as a nursing assistant, and I started working in the nursing home. I was in a couple of nursing homes, and I done that for a while until my dad got sick. And when my dad got sick, I had to take a break from my job to care for him, which I did. So I stayed in the house and cared for my job for my father. Fast forward, I ended up losing my job as a nursing assistant, and I ended up going into housekeeping, which I did housework for a university at night. So I was on that job for about maybe 6 months. Yeah, 6, 7 months. And I came home one day. Now my dad used to drink. And back in those days, we don't consider them as alcoholics because he was a functional alcoholic. He worked, he took care of the family, he did everything a father's supposed to do in the house for their children. But he also drank alcohol. And he liked the young females, you know. It was always some women that he met in the club, on the street, or whatever, was always at our house. And most of the females that he met was his daughter's age, around our age. And I came home from work one day and found out I couldn't get in the house. Couldn't get in the house because I lost my keys. And my father was drunk. He was very intoxicated. He told me if I didn't have my keys, then I don't live there. And I was like, what? Like, huh? But my kids in there. He was like, you don't live here. So I roamed the streets that night. I went down to my neighbor because I couldn't get in my house. And I think it was the wrong move I could do because the guy house I went over he was a drug dealer. Um, at that time, I was just smoking weed. I ain't know nothing about no hard drugs, nothing. He was a drug dealer. He sold drugs. So he was telling me how I could make some money and selling drugs. And I wasn't with it like right then and there. I was like, nah, because I knew better because I had family members that was already in that lifestyle. And I told myself I didn't want to be like them. I really didn't want to be like them. But the opportunity kept presenting itself. And he was showing me all this money and what I could do and woo woo woo. And I was getting excited. And I told him I'll think about it. So 2 days later, I ended up back to my dad's house. At that time, my dad apologized, for the fact he ain't let me in, whatever, whatever. So it was this young guy that my sister used to get high with, to get my sister high. So one day he came past and my sister wasn't there and I was there. And I was curious about what they was doing. Curiosity killed the cat. I was so curious about what they was doing and why she was the way she was, you know. So he was like, well, if you want to find out about it, I could show you everything. So me being as curious as I was, I decided, you know, to try out, see what they was doing. And at that time, they was shooting up drugs. I didn't know nothing about shooting up no drugs. Like I said, I was a weed head. I was young, smoking weed, doing the weed thing. At this time, I had two children, my daughter and my son. My son was about 2 years old. Um, I was a good mother. I was doing everything I needed to do for my children. But once I learned how to do drugs, my whole life changed. My whole situation changed. Um, I went back down to the guy house who was a hustler because I know only way I can do what I need to do, I need to have money to do it. So at the time, I lost my job um, from housekeeping. Um, I decided to go drug dealer, undercover drug dealer. I started out selling love boat. I sold love boat for a good amount of time. Then I started selling heroin. And then it just kept going up and up and up. So by that time, I was in it to win it. I was doing everything I needed to do. And I was making a lot of money doing it. So that's how that lifestyle started for me. I don't know if it's I only see one person in here. Salute Sharon. Uh Salute Raw. I don't see nobody else in the chat. I don't want to miss nobody. If you in here, I salute you. But I only see two people here. So I guess everybody's over at Miss Parker, which I salute Miss Parker and Shank for encouraging me to start a live. But I probably will have to reschedule. I probably have to reschedule this live since there's really nobody in here. I don't know. I guess I have to salute Coach. Thanks for pulling up. Ooh, shanking them damn hot dogs. I'm gonna go on until I'm done. It just is what it is. Anyway, yeah, I got into selling drugs. I became a hustler on the street. I left home, left my kids. And I think somewhere in my mind, because of the pain that I was enduring as a child, losing my mom, getting split up, you know, dad, you know, drinks. He wasn't as abusive as some people would think. Some people would consider, I guess, in the way he was raising us as being abuse, but he didn't physically abuse us where we had to call CPS and all that type of stuff. I guess he was just disciplining us to the best of his ability and trying to keep us safe and trying to keep us out of harm's way the best way he could. He was strict. I'll put it that way. He was strict. He wasn't abusive, but he was strict. Um, and he always say, "Well, if you don't like my rules, you don't like what I'm saying, then get the hell out." It was just that simple. He always say, "I pay the cost to be the boss," which he was, because he was the one paying all the bills. So we had to buy by what he wanted and go with what he wanted, and that's just what it was. Um, like I said, I got out in the street, and I figure if I hustle and make money, then I can help support my dad. I can help him with the bills or whatever, whatever. But by that time, my father was so upset with me. He was so disappointed in me because he already lost a couple of his daughters to, you know, drugs and what he was looking for the youngest ones to do better. Um, and I remember my sister telling me, "I don't want you to be like me." And I always say I wasn't. I said, "I'm not going to be like you. I don't want to be like you." But come to find out, I was worse than my sister. I ended up worse than my sister, in my opinion. I stayed out on the street uh, for most of my son life. I left my son when he was like 2. By the time I, you know, kind of reappeared back in my son life, he was about 15, 16. So y'all do the math. At the time, I was getting all this hot stuff, all this good stuff, whatever I can get on the street, and I'll bring it to my dad's house for my children and everything. Which my kids was happy to get this stuff because they was like, "Oh," but I think they was just really happy to see me, and I was happy to see them. When it came to money, I used to take money home to my dad, but my dad used to refuse my money. At one time, he was taking it because he figured, like, okay, just to help him out, whatever. But then he started refusing the money because he felt like the money was dirty. It was hot. He didn't want the money. So I was like, okay, cool. I wanted to take my kids with me, but I didn't want to take my kids with me because I didn't want to straddle the streets with my children. So I did what I did and I stayed out there. In my life of living on the street as a hustler, I thought I was living the best life of my life because I was doing whatever I want whenever I want to, however I want to. I had got me a little place up the street from my father's house, a little rooming house, and I used to hustle out there. I never hustle out the room. I used to go out the room to hustle. I never let nobody know where I live. That's nobody, not even my family. Um, I stayed on the streets for quite a amount of time doing God's know what. I started out running for some guys, selling a product, getting paid and getting my cut. I got tired of that. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why I ended up getting tired of that. Because I ran into this guy. His name was Antoine. And, uh, uh, the kingpin of DC. He was the biggest kingpin in DC, and he used to work for him. So he asked me, do I want to work? Do I want to make more than what I was making? Because I wasn't making nothing with what I was doing. So I said, yeah. Little did I know I was being a runner for a kingpin. I never really got to see him as much because, you know, he had people working for him and they had people working for them. And I don't know how that go, but that's how it went. He had lieutenants, captains, whatever. And I met this guy Antoine. I was working for him, so I'm quite sure whatever money I was making, he would take his money and he'd give him his money, or however it went. And after doing that for a while, I started thinking, because I'm like, if I come up short, I don't get no money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm working for free, and I don't work for free for nobody. But anyway, long story short, somehow kind of way, I just had an icky feeling about that whole situation, about that whole setup, about everything they was doing. So I decided to get a package and work for myself. And that's what I did. Because I had uncles and cousins and nephews, and back in them times, everybody was in the drug game. Everybody was selling drugs. Everybody was doing it, selling, whatever. Everybody was just into something. Some was known, some was unknown. Um, but I had some big people that I knew that was into it. Even though I didn't want to go to them, but I did what I did. They were surprised to see the, you know, the little ones coming to them asking them for products or whatever. But money talk. As long as you got money, I guess it didn't matter, because it's like, okay, she got money, she want to do it, then oh well, we gonna just trust and let her do what she do, and that's exactly what I did. I did what I had to do. I took my product, sold it, did whatever. Um, Living out on the street, being a hustler. I started out a hustler, but I end up as an addict. All in the end, I end up as an addict. I was doing well as long as I was selling heroin, pills, or love boat, or weed, marijuana, or whatever. I was okay as long as I was selling that type of drug. But when crack came on the scene, the whole game changed. It was a different ball game. Um, I remember one hustler telling me, whatever you do, don't never do it. You sell it, get your money. If you want to get high, whatever, do something else. Which I thought I was, because I was doing a little heroin, little dope, little coke, snort powder, whatever. I wasn't smoking. As long as I didn't smoke, I was cool. I was making money. I was doing whatever. Till one day I actually did. I smoked and got high. And that took a turn for the worse. Because, like I said, I started out as a hustler, but I end up as an addict. And you know what happened to most addicts. I end up losing everything. All them, I had money. I buried money in people's backyard because I was afraid to put it in the bank. I was giving out, just being a generous giver. But I always said whatever I lost, I would make back, and I did. But when you become an addict, you start doing all the craziest stuff. You know, I lost out. I lost out on a lot, and I had to bounce back. And only way you can bounce back in a game like that, you had to sell your soul, sell your body, boost, rob, or do something to get money to make money. So I met a guy who was into checks. He was taking people checks, writing checks, whatever. I hooked up with him. So we started boosting people checks, social security check, bank checks, whatever. And there was this liquor store on 14th Street. It was the Burroughs Liquor, where you can go in there cash any check. It was this guy in there who would take a certain percent to cash any check. All you had to do was just present the check. He'd give the money. He'd take his half, and you do whatever you do. It was an undercover business, and you asked me because, like I said, you could go in there with no ID, no nothing. Just present the check, give it to him, he cash it, he get his little half, he give you yours, and that's it. I done that for a while till one day I ended up going in any kind of check cashing place because the liquor store was closed that day. And funny thing is, I had an account with these people a long time ago. Actually, where I actually had the right credentials with my check that the government gave me, or the check I worked for to get it cashed. But for some strange reason, I ended up going in there because I figured those people know me, which I wasn't thinking because I wasn't in my right frame of mind, and I can cash this check. The guy had took somebody's social security check, and I wrote her name down on the back of the check, thinking, okay, since I know some people in this place or whatever, they ain't gonna really pay it no mind, whatever, because they see me in here. They gonna cash the check, give me the money, and I can go, whatever. This particular day, um, it took so long. She asked me how. So she said, well, give me a minute. She had to go in the back and get the money. She went in the back and got the money. But also, she was calling the police, and I didn't know. The whole time I'm sitting there waiting, something told me get up and leave. Something told me leave the store, get out of there. But I was so tired, I couldn't move until I saw the white shirts coming through the door. So all of a sudden, I got up to move, but it was too late then. Next thing I know, the guy, I was trying to explain to them that this guy, they wasn't no guy. They didn't see no guy, wasn't no guy. So whatever dude was, he disappeared when he saw them coming. And I took the hit for it. I took the fall for it. They locked me up on fraud. Took me down to the station, booked me, whatever. I called my sister, told my sister, I wasn't surprised because my sister like, well, maybe, you know, this will be it for her. You know what I'm saying? By this time, my sister was already in recovery. She had already got herself clean. She was doing well. You know, she was doing better than I was and everything. So after they took me down, fingerprint me, whatever, they didn't actually keep me just that day. They let me out on probation and told me I need to come take a urine whenever. They set up the schedule for me to take urines or whatever. I came right back out, got right back into doing what I was doing. Went right back down to the same spot where I used to hang out at because I still have an addiction. You know, I ain't get no help from my addiction when they locked me up. They just took me in and I came out. So I went back to my spot. Couple months went past. I used to go take the urine. I used to do everything to. I used to take the golden seals, drink vinegar, all that, to make sure my urine was clean when I got down there. Because those are the tricks I learned on the street. Did they work? Nah, not all the time. Most of the time they didn't. But at that time I didn't care because I had addiction. Um, so a couple of months went past. It was an accident. You know, stuff happens. But where I'm at today, I ended up going to jail because my nephew told on me, got me locked up. But let me forward to where I'm at today. I went from a crack house, living on the street, and God helped me. I'm living life better than I ever lived. I'm going on trips now. I'm attentive with my kids. We all heal together. We all cry together. We all laugh together. So God has completely turned my life around. So now I'm running these YouTube streets, you know, basically staying on top of everything that I could possibly stay on to help change my community, change my life, change the people life around me. Um, I'll say this to you if you're out there listening. There's nothing you cannot achieve. It's nothing you cannot do with the help of God. If you put God first, you can do all things. And I truly believe that. And I'm a living witness that you can do all things through Christ. So, um, if you have any questions, anybody want to ask a question, I only see is one person here. You can drop it in the chat. Other than that, that's my form of induction. That's who I am. You know, I'm doing everything I can to the best of my ability, the way I can. Um, that's my form of induction and introduction. And hopefully next time when I come back and do a live, I have more people in here because I know everybody now is over Miss Parker, which is good. But I guess I'll have to get with you guys later, schedule another live, and hopefully it'll be a whole lot better than this live. I will be bringing more contents to everybody. So thanks for tuning in, and thanks for giving me a chance just to share that small introduction with whoever out there listening, because there's only one person. I appreciate you, and may God bless you. Salute. Catch you later. Peace. Salute. I don't know. I guess I'll see it when I see it.